What's up, y'all? This is Wild Wayne Cartwright from the Hill Podcast. This is our pilot episode. Uh, we are all people who graduated from Alabama A&M University. I graduated in the year 2000. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
Good evening, everybody, Bulldog Nation, and everybody out watching us tonight. I am DT Green, class of 2006. Took the long way home, graduated in 2015, finally got it done. Big sports fan, Huntsville native, grew up around the Bulldogs. Glad we're finally getting this podcast off the ground, gentlemen.
What's up, Normal Lights? T. Gooden, graduated class of 2009. Glad to be here with my fellow Normal Lights.
What's up, Bulldog Nation? It's Corey Williams, class of 2000. And as you see in my background, I bleed maroon and white. So glad to be here and go Bulldogs.
Yes, indeed. And so, what we're going to do in this podcast over this next period of time, we're going to talk about things that are related to Alabama A&M sports and also a few administrative things. And then we're going to also shake things up a little bit and just kind of talk about some other current events. So first off on the agenda that we want to talk about this evening is we want to talk about the Magic City Classic. So as everybody knows, it was the 81st edition and went down this past Saturday in Legion Field, and coming in with 4 straight victories in the series. Unfortunately, we went down to defeat to that team down the road by the score of 24-17. We know everything that went down in it. It was a game that we were dominating. We were up 14-3, and then there was a muff punt, and then the wheels fell off from there. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the game from Saturday, and how you feel about the Magic City Classic as a whole?
I guess I'll start us off. So I went into this classic kind of with the understanding that this wasn't a high octane football season for the Bulldogs in the first place. It's not that I expected to lose. I expected us to win and extend that streak. But here's the thing about the Classic. The Classic is almost always close. It's fluky because my personal opinion is Legion Field has ghosts. Legion Field has been in operation for so long, and so many great teams and players have played on that field, from A&M to State to Bama, Auburn, the high schools, you name it. There's ghosts in that stadium, and a lot of games end up just some fluky stuff goes on in Legion Field. And I think I made a Facebook post about it at one point in time in the third quarter around halftime. I said, who's going to benefit from the ghost this year? Who are the ghosts of Legion Field going to favor? And they wasn't in our favor this year. Hats off to State though, man. First year with Eddie Robinson, he's down there getting his feet wet in the SWAC coaching circles and whatnot. Hats off to our team. I mean, they played just as well as you could expect, especially on defense. We had issues on offense all year. Those aren't new. We knew going into this season, the offense may be a little challenged, with Glass and all of them out. Special teams, man. Special teams, that third phase of the game is always a make or break in a close game. And we saw it live and in action. Other than that, I thought it was a good football game. I've always wanted the defense to improve. I always said that if we could just get the defense to be a lot better overall, the offense eventually would, improve over time as, the players gel and get a little bit more experience. I was proud of the defensive effort all game. I mean, all game. The whole 4 quarters, we had a defensive touchdown. They gave up some plays here and there, but, it's unrealistic to expect perfect shutdown defenses in this era of football than in the past. But, you never want to lose. But, it is what it is. We're still the king of the Classic, though. That ain't changing.
Facts. So,
Yeah,
man, I like to get inside the stadium pretty early. I like to, see the players warm up, see the coaches talk to each other. Uh, a lot of people aren't in the stadium that early, but Robinson and Coach Maynard, they were in the at the 50-yard line speaking for a long time, and they kind of gave out like, yeah, this is gonna be a good game. Those guys genuinely like each other. They seem to be friends, unlike stuff we've seen in the past with other coaches. But I went into the game expecting to win, man. Like we were on a 3-game winning streak. I knew we had the momentum. We had the momentum to the all the way to halftime. Now, as a football player in high school, I always hated halftime. Halftime in high schools are short. To me, that deflates the game at all. You got to restart. It was a 30-minute halftime on Saturday. We had a 30-minute break up 14-3. So in my mind, we took our foot off the gas. State had a 30-minute halftime to get their act together, and they came out and played and did those things. Like DT said, in my opinion, that muff punt, it really changed the game. When that punt was muffed, everything just went downhill. I can't remember, but I think the punt was muffed. Then maybe the drive after that, it was a sack and he fumbled the ball, or was that before? I can't remember. But it was just that end of the field, man. Everything just went downhill. We got sacked on that end. The punt was muffed on that end. We got stopped at the 3-yard line to end the game on that end. Even last year, we almost lost because this DB was getting ate up down the field on that end. So next year, I'm going to sit somewhere else because I see that end every year, and it just doesn't work out right. But I went in expecting to win, disappointed. But it was a good game. Like you said, it went down to the wire. I personally would rather get blown out than lose like that. A couple of clock mismanagement that messed us up. Kind of plays that weren't smart, throwing the ball in the middle of the field when we have no timeouts left. Not throwing that ball to the end zone when the clock was running out or running for your life. That's stuff that I think as a Division I football player, you got to be able to think fast enough to get that done. But those are my thoughts on it.
Absolutely. Corey?
Wow, Wayne, congratulations to Bama State for winning 1 out the last 5.
Right. Exactly.
And to make it short, congrats to I'm proud of our team and our coaches. They were prepared. They played hard, and that's what you want them to do, to be able to come out and play hard. They played hard. I've been to almost every game this year, and some of the same issues popped up with consistency. Playing 4 quarters. They have yet to play 4 quarters. If you notice, against Florida A&M, they got up and could have really put the game sort of out of reach in the first half. But penalties and turnover on special teams, same thing. And in the Magic City Classic, it's always going to come down to, who makes a play here or there, whether it's special teams, whether it's turnovers. And in the first half, we really could have put them away. Going up 14-3, we had an opportunity to be up 21-3 or 28-3. We got down there and with penalties or anything got us pushed back. So the game could have really been put away by halftime. But as you know, in a rivalry game, if you keep somebody in the game long enough and something happens, the momentum shifts.
That's
so
right.
Just as you all talked about, that muff punt was the Bama State was playing field position. You can tell they leaned on their defense to just keep playing tough till we make a mistake. And our defense, as DT stated, is improved. A lot of people, they may not see that, but real football fans will see that our defense has improved. We held Bama State to 200 yards total. We had 300 yards. But we didn't do what we needed to do on the offensive end. Yes, our defense, played well. They put pressure on the quarterback. On third down, that's where I feel that, we could have played a little bit better on defense on third down, where we made some critical mistakes as far as penalties and giving up, like 3rd and 16 and 3rd and long and things of that sort. They was putting pressure on the quarterback, so that wasn't the issue. but they had an athlete as a quarterback, so he
They
can
did.
break down certain things. Um, but I think with the guys play hard to the very end, and they gave it their all for Bulldog Nation. I'm proud of them. Can't win them all. Yes, disappointed in any loss, but I'm confident that we will come back, reevaluate things, and come back and be ready for them next year. I would hope that we don't start off the season with three tough games like that, because that's hard on the coaches and the players to see who can really do what. And so they were behind the eight ball. But hey, congrats to Bama State. But Bulldogs will be back.
Yes, indeed. And Jen is on the line with us. I don't know if Jen, if you got something you want to say on the game.
What game?
Right,
Right.
what game?
I totally understand
Pulled out
that.
the Debo. Debo.
But no, hey to everyone. I can honestly say, despite our flaws, it was a pretty good game. Um, Biggest thing we can work on is penalties. Really hurt us, especially on those third downs. But I can say I did enjoy the game. Um, am I a little disappointed? Yeah, of course. You never want to lose classic, but I am proud of the young men for the effort that they did put up. Um, like Corey said, of course, there's a lot of things we can work on. We can go back to the drawing board, be strong for next year. But I do want to say that this season is still very salvageable. This is not the end. Um, Still a lot of games to be played. Um, I'm behind my team 120%.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I will even add to this is you guys may notice, even remember when I did the summary, which was chapter 8 in the season book. I talked about how this game would be a penalty fest. Um, because coming in, Alabama State committed at least, I think they had an average of 11 penalties a game coming in, and we had 10 penalties on average coming in. And the thing that really got me is that Alabama State committed 19 penalties for almost 200 yards in total penalties. And we didn't capitalize really off of many of the penalties that we got. And the other thing that I knew too was coming into this was the fact that Alabama State was really, really stout against the run. And that's something that we had been doing well in our 3-game winning streak. The emergence of Eaglin at running back. And the fact that they committed extra bodies to the box. If you look at it, we were running up against 8-man fronts for almost most of the game. And with those 8-man fronts, we had some one-on-ones matchups with our receivers that we weren't able to take advantage of. And I know a lot of people also pointed out in some of the post-game comments, they talked about how, with our offensive line, some of the challenges that we've had in pass protection, they noticed that we went empty a lot. And we had empty formation with shotgun. And so we can go a lot of ways with it, but at the end of the day, it's something that we hope that the team can learn from and grow from as they head into Thursday night's game against Mississippi Valley that we'll talk about in just a few moments. But one thing I wanted to just kind of segue to while we're still on the subject of the Classic, one thing that everybody knows too is that the Classic contract is up. Saturday's game was the last game on the existing contract, and some of the things that we know is being discussed is what's the future of the Classic. As everybody knows, Legion Field is almost 100 years old. It's dilapidated. We know that they built a shiny new stadium downtown called Protective Stadium that seats about 50,000. But some of the things that people love about the Classic, unfortunately, is what goes on outside the stadium, which is the tailgating. And so we've got a lot of arguments and a lot of comments and a lot of things that go on about it. And one of the things that I want to turn it over to this group, and I want to do this round table style. So let's just talk about the future of the Classic and what we think the direction of the Classic should be. So anybody who wants to get in, let's do it.
I think it's only right that we start with the Birmingham native,
I
uh,
agree. Jen.
J. Dot Murray. What you got?
I felt you was headed that way. um, well, as a Birmingham native, Classic will always have a different meaning to me, and what I mean by that is, of course, you're supposed to treat every game as a classic. So let me get that out the way. But um, growing up in Birmingham is literally a holiday down here. Um, schools are out. Um, jobs pretty much have pushed their PTO to the limit. It's just like Christmas Junior down here. So I definitely appreciate the traditions, the the everything that goes into what classic is, and it's been going on for 81 years. Um, Now I will say this: the first time I stepped in protective, and that was for um
World Games,
no
It was a USFL, right?
USFL.
USFL. Okay.
Yes, USFL. And so then I was also there for the Garth Brooks concert that sold out.
That thing was jumping. I saw
And
videos of it.
listen, insane. So the Move Classic bug had got on me my first time I stepped in protective. I was like, this is nice. For those who don't know, around protective, there's a city walk, there's the Top Golf across the street. It's a lot of little restaurants and bars that you can literally patronize and then go into the stadium. So everything is right there. And I was like, okay, I'm on the Move Classic bandwagon now. And then the World Games happened, and the World Games also had concerts down there next to the stadium. So one of the concerts I attended was Big Boy out of Outcast, and it was thousands of people that was just in the area. It was not quite a vibe. And then I attended this Magic City Classic, and I'm back on the fence again. I I absolutely love the vibe that Protective has. It's brand new, it's shiny, but it is just something about stepping on Greymont Avenue and seeing the smoke and seeing the sleeping lions up front and seeing the Bender Village, and it's different. It's different. So I have I have changed hats. I was fully in the Move It to Protective delegation, and now I'm back on the fence because it's nothing like Legion Field on Magic City Classic Sunday. I mean, Saturday. So with that said, if we are to keep it at Legion Field, there is going to have to be a significant amount of money poured into the stadium. If that's the direction that we want to go into, it has to be upkept. There's no way I'm going to be okay with going to a stadium in need of repairs when I know it's a stadium downtown. It may be different than what we're accustomed to. It'll be a different experience, but I mean, people like nice things. So if we are to stay at Legion Field, Birmingham is going to have to put a significant amount of money in it. And if we move, I'm okay with that too, because it can be held in somebody's backyard, but I'm going to support my Bulldogs wherever the game is going to be.
Facts.
Yeah. But if the game is moved, you know, how do you guys feel about the kind of backlash that will come from it?
Uh, I feel that one of the reasons, the main reason, the presidents of Alabama A&M and Alabama State has not decided to move it yet is because they don't want to be that guy that signs the contract. Like you were the president to move it. We got Dr. Williams. What's the president's name at Alabama State? I forgot his name.
Quentin Ross,
Quentin
Dr. Quentin
Quentin
Ross.
Ross.
We got Dr. Williams, Dr. Ross. They don't want to be the guys that say, "Hey, we are the people that moved the Alabama State and Alabama A&M to a protective stadium." They don't want to be those people at all. I personally think it should be moved. I love to tailgate, drink, and eat with the best of them, but I can find somewhere else to do that at because I rather the players have a better atmosphere in the game. I promise you, 50,000 people filled up that stadium, will fill up that stadium in protective, and they'll like that better than the fabricated 67,000 that was there the other
Yeah.
day. It wasn't 67,000 people in that stadium. Everybody knows it.
No.
Everybody knows that.
No.
So, but I know we can get between 45 and 50. Even Corey was at the when we went down to UAB. That stadium was almost packed when we played UAB. Imagine if we play Alabama State, on a year-end basis. The other option, if I prefer to keep it in Birmingham, but if it ever gets to this forbidden area that nobody wants to talk about, home and home, I'm totally
Hmm.
a fan of that as well.
Let's do it.
Uh, right, because if it's in Montgomery, I'm going. If it's in Huntsville, I'm going. It don't matter to me. I'm gonna be there. But I think we just got to put our options on the table, man. People act like they're scared to make change. I said the other day, hey, we were once named Alabama A&M College, but guess what? That changes. We're still okay. So we can't be scared to make changes, whether that's going to protective or whether that's going at a home and home.
Yeah, and I know we'll get to the home and home scenario in a minute because, but I know Corey, you chomping at the bit, brother. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. Well, Mad City Classic, it's no field like it. Legion Field, is Birmingham is the Mad City Classic. I'm gonna say that. But at the end of the day, as HBCUs, we got to make business decisions. Because it's all about the school prospering, having good facilities, so you can recruit young talent for the future of our schools. So whatever decision, it needs to be a business decision. Yes, it's going to be a tough decision for the presidents to make. However, I feel that Birmingham is the Magic City Classic. Legion Field is the Magic City Classic, but it has to be a business decision. So when I mean business decision, they're gonna have to bring the Brinks truck up to our presidents to make it worthwhile and to remain there. You know, because right now I'm talking a million, 2 million a piece each
Hmm.
year. It's gonna have to be something similar to that because you got other SWAC schools that's getting in classics in Birmingham that can make up to 1 to 3 million um, each per game. So it's gonna have to make business sense to remain at Legion Field. Yes, the atmosphere is untouched. You will lose some of that. But at the end of the day, like T Gooden stated, that I'm gonna go regardless of whether it's at Legion Field, whether it's at Protective, or whether it's at home and home. And a lot of people feel like, since you mentioned Wild Wayne about home and home, a lot of people feel that just because the stadiums doesn't seat enough, that you can't make the money. But if you're a businessman, it's all about the sponsorship dollars.
Hmm.
It's all about sponsorship dollars. It's all about the park and the tailgate. Birmingham get paid. The city gets everything from tailgate.
Yep.
Schools get nothing. So, and sponsorships, for games like that they know people gonna watch. You got sponsors who's willing to sponsor that game, and
Hmm.
each school can get paid every year if schools make that agreement with those sponsors. So you'll hear people talking about one school is gonna get paid this year, one gonna get paid the other year. No, it's still home and home. You still can get paid some money each year. It
Hmm.
just depends on how it's structured, and that's all about sponsorships. So,
Absolutely. And
so
Yeah, and on that point there, when you talk about sponsorships, one of the things when we talk about uh if we did do home and home, the thing that we've talked about as a group and we've shared with publicly, on Facebook, we've talked about how with reduced capacity, first off, you got to get out of the mindset that if it's home and home, it's going to be a classic. You got to get out of the mindset. It's not a classic. It just becomes a rivalry football game between two HBCU schools. Okay, that's the
which is
first thing,
okay.
which is totally fine, which will still have a buzz because it is a rivalry. It goes way back and people will still get behind it. And then the other thing is they say, well, neither Montgomery or Huntsville, none of their campus grounds can accommodate all those people. You got to get out of the mindset of thinking that you're trying to accommodate 100,000 people. You're not doing it, because what happens is the people who come there just to tailgate won't show up anymore. Then what you will get is you will get loyalists who are to each campus. It'll just become almost like a homecoming. You'll have tailgating, you'll have people still spending their money, but instead of spending their money in the city of Birmingham, let me tell you all this, man. The city of Birmingham says that they make on average or estimation $21 million from the classic. Okay, $21 million of that money. Now, how much of that 21 million does Alabama State and does Alabama A&M see?
This
Not
year we
much.
got 400 apiece.
Exactly. Okay. Now let me give you another one, and this is another one for some of our viewers out there that don't like me doing this, but I'm gonna do it to you anyway. You say, well, don't compare us to them white folk. Well, when you're benchmarking, who else are you gonna look for or look to? Okay. Let me give you something else here, ladies and gentlemen. The game between Florida and Georgia that just took place this past Saturday, same Saturday in Jacksonville. All right. They've been playing there. They've been playing there for 91 seasons. Now, both teams, Florida and Georgia, both of them desperately want to get out of there and go home and home. Why? All right. Both teams make $1.5 million on their contract. All right. That's the standard base. Then they split the gate. Once they split the gate, that's been averaged to be about $3.3 million. So you split that in half. Now both teams are making just a tick over 3 million. All right, now Florida gets $60,000 in travel allowance. Why? Because Gainesville to Jacksonville isn't that far of a trip, so it covers their travel expenses. Georgia gets something in the hundreds of thousands. I forget the exact number, excuse me, but it is in the hundreds of thousands. They get a travel allowance. That's all you need to know about that. All right. But here is where the rubber meets the road. The economic impact to the city of Jacksonville, $35 million. $35 million. Okay. Now, both teams know that if they host it on their campuses, they can make 20, 30 times what they get from that one game down in Jacksonville. The same principle now, we move it over to the classic. All right. If you had it home and home, one of my arguments has been people who really, really desperately want to get into the stadium with reduced capacity will do what, fellas and
They will
ladies?
they
They'll
will
buy
buy the
season
ticket.
tickets.
Buy season tickets too.
There you go. They will buy season tickets. And if you buy season tickets, you're not making income for just one game. You're making it throughout the entire season. And
Right.
that benefits both schools. And if you figure $175 was on average season tickets for A&M, let's just say we sold 10,000 season tickets. You do the math, that's 1.75 million. If you think about that, we're making $400,000 to play in Birmingham. Well, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but that sounds like more than 3 times the amount of revenue. And we didn't even get to just to have that one game day, because now you got people who will pay to fill in the rest of the seats. And you can do supply and demand and raise that price way up, and people will pay it.
Yep.
They
Watch
will pay
this.
it.
Here's another thing to think about regarding your home and home. Every July, August, September, you start to get the itch for football season. What do you start doing? You start buying t-shirts, you start buying hats, you start buying car decals, you start getting ready for the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what happens the week before the Alabama State game at home? Your shirt sales go up, your hat sales go up, depending on what the weather is, your sweater sales go up. Just the simple fact that that game is on your campus exponentially increases the value of every dollar that you normally receive in revenue from a home game. Without, and well, let me couch this. The expenses are going to increase also because you're having to accommodate more people,
True.
but you're not spending the money to go travel. You're not having to load up buses. You're only doing it every other year. And whatever revenue sharing agreement that you get with Alabama State can kind of offset some of that. Now, my personal thoughts on the classic moving, I would prefer it to remain at Legion Field, but I'm a realist, okay? Legion Field hasn't been kept up by the city of Birmingham or any other entity for really the last 20 some odd years. Once they took the upper deck down in the late 90s, early 2000s, like the writing was on the wall, right? Okay, so we got a new stadium down there. Okay, there's more writing on the wall. We see where this is going. Okay, at some point, as fans, alums, we have to think logically about where we're going with this. There's not going to be big announcements from the city or from either school because it's a contractual thing. Okay, you're not going to negotiate in public. That's not how negotiations are conducted.
Right.
Okay. But you can put two and two together that it's potential for some big change down the horizon. I wrote a piece on this on HBCU Game Day around the time of the Classic last year. You kind of have to, you got to separate the fact that, okay, it's not going to be the Magic City Classic in Huntsville or Montgomery, or even like if it's in Protective, yeah, it is. That's still a considerable size facility that can accommodate a lot of people. There's more stuff to do around that area. It's not, really like the tailgate space at Legion Field. But like we got to get out of this mindset of nothing should change.
Right.
If nothing changed, imagine what A&M would be if it never changed from whatever it was in the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Folk wouldn't like it. They wouldn't like it.
You wouldn't like it. You wouldn't like it. So everything evolves. Some things evolve for the better. Some things evolve for the worse. But here's the deal. Every year, when that game kicks off, people are excited about it. Okay? They could play that game in Chattanooga, Tennessee in somebody's backyard. I don't care. I'm there. You understand? I'm either there or I'm watching from the TV if I can't make it. Like, it's football. Everybody and this is beyond just A&M. Every time some major change comes down with college football, NIL, transfer portal, everybody, it's going to ruin the game. It's going to ruin the game. And what happens? Every year,
the game
gets so much better.
It either enhances the game, or the game is still exciting to the people who enjoy it. Look at the Alabama-Tennessee game this year. You think the people up in Knoxville gave a crap about what was going on with NIL or the transfer portal?
Nope.
Or what, some player got some money from some deal or what have you, and they might be more after league. They didn't care about that. They were storming the field after they won that game because the game remains the same.
And DT, we have to start looking at what's in the best interest of our students.
Yep.
Not only our student athletes, but our student athletes, and we have to work on our facilities. As you know, we have a lot of facility upgrades as far as with our baseball, softball, soccer and things. And when you think like a business, and we need to operate like a business, that's why I said we need to make a business decision, because whatever decisions that's made can help with facilities throughout the university. And that needs to spur. If we want to continue to grow and to be able to compete on a national level and not just with HBCUs, if we want to compete, we have to continue to make business decisions for the future of our university. Because kids, it's not like kids when we grew up. Kids today, hey, they go on nice vacations. They living in nice places. They used to nice things. And so we have to continue to try to offer them the best kind of experience as well. And so when those decision makers get in that room and make that decision, I just hope whatever they decide, that it's a sound business decision, that the schools are getting what they deserve, and they need to get paid. So they need to bring that Brinks truck up to, and the schools need to get paid.
Amen, brother. Well, that this debate and this talk on the Magic City Classic, it will continue to go on and on. But as we said, the contract is up and negotiations are underway. And at some point, we will find out what the future of the Magic City Classic is. So let's move on here, and we'll just kind of segue while we're still on football, which is our A&M Bulldogs. As everyone knows, short week this week. Instead of playing on Saturday, we will be making a trip to Mississippi Valley State on Thursday night. It'll be in Mississippi at Rice-Totten Stadium, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPNU. Mississippi Valley State has had a pretty tough season. They are 0-8 on the campaign. They've had some real difficult moments. And, Coach Dancy last year, it was a bit of a resurgent year for them. They had a few good wins. They upset Alabama. In fact, they pounded Alabama State. They had some good wins. They beat North Carolina Central last year, but they've had a bit of a tough go. And, one of the things that I was looking at with this game is, my hope is that Coach Maynard was able to get these guys to understand that they have to have a short-term memory. Oftentimes you can let one loss become two because you didn't get over the first one. And on paper, we are marginally better than Mississippi Valley. Mississippi Valley State's biggest strength that they have is their front seven. Particularly that front four on that defensive line. They are very stout against the run when they can be. And one of the things that we already talked about here is we talked about how A&M is leaned on the run, sometimes a little bit too much. Decidedly, this is a game that we should win. And we should win, and we need to win this game convincingly, meaning that we need to take care of business early, get it over with early so we can establish some confidence. Because you guys know, after we have this mini break, we got to get back on the road and head down to Mobile for a game against Jackson State. But just wanted to just get everybody's thoughts about Thursday night and the trip to Itabena against the Delta Devils.
So here's my thing, and this let me tell you about the game of football. Okay, everybody's gonna look at this like, oh yeah, we're gonna Dust Valley. 0-8, they hadn't been. Let me tell you something. The worst team to play is a winless, desperate team where you got guys that's just like they almost like starved dogs, man. They'll do anything. They'll rip your throat out to win a football game. Nobody straps up and wants to say that I played on a team that didn't win a game in the season. Nobody does. So this is one of those situations where, like, I think we can win. I hope we win. I'm pretty confident that we'll play a lot better against them than we did against Alabama State. However, the fact that their strength is a front four, front seven, and they're desperate for a win, and it's a short week for us, whoever the chaplains are this week, they better go down there with the big Bible. Don't bring that little New International Version stuff. You better bring the the big old school granny Bible study Bible to pray for us for this game. We're gonna have to, we're gonna have to pull out all the stops down there in the Bina. But I
Yeah,
think
and
I think that they know the drill. They know the drill. Coaches will have them prepared. They know that this you can't lose the Valley, especially no 0-8 Valley.
yeah, and I even forgot to add too. Valley is coming off a bye week, so
Yep.
they didn't play last week, and we're on a short week. And you ready for this? These are Valley's last two games behind this.
Yep.
I was just about to hit
They
that,
they
Wayne.
they gotta go. They have to go to Southern and Prairie View.
I think I
So,
Lord
think
have
Prairie
mercy.
View actually comes to them.
well, yeah, they go to Southern, but
Yeah.
Prairie View comes in. And regardless, this might be their last realistic chance to try to get a victory. Go ahead, T.
Yeah, I'm just about to say that. I was looking at the schedule, the remaining schedule myself. I mean, we are the only team that they have that has a losing record. So if you can beat anybody, you could beat Alabama A&M on a Thursday on a short week after a bye week. So we can't go in thinking that it's just it's Mississippi Valley. We just got an easy win. Or we gonna come back embarrassed, and then y'all know we got to hear all the talk, blah blah, and all that stuff. I don't feel like dealing with that. But the other part I want to say is like in regards to Valley and their situation, they're 0-8. I personally think in order for Mississippi Valley State, that school, to stay a school viable in athletics, they really don't need to be Division One with SWAC, man. They need to play in the same conference as Tuskegee. Like they have no reason to play against the schools that they play against. Because I mean, you get this in every sport. You get it in football. You get it in basketball. You get it in baseball. You get it in softball. They don't have the attendance. They don't have the funds. They don't have the. I mean, we barely making it as a D1 school. Honestly, Valley's in a way worse situation now. So sometimes I feel bad for them. Of course, I want to beat them, but I just know they're not in a situation like you got to be a pretty good dang recruiter to get somebody to come play football in Alabama, Mississippi. You
Yeah.
Well,
know, that's an uphill battle.
well, I'm gonna talk about the football game between Alabama A&M and Mississippi Valley because I think T. Gooden gonna have some folks who went to school with Jerry Rice. They gonna be mad at him about
Right,
that.
right.
but but it can be a good thing from a short week or a bad thing coming back from a short week and a loss in the classic and playing the game. I think it's a good thing. Come back short week, you try to get that taste out your mouth and try to get a victory. You know, when you're playing Mississippi Valley, we either gonna beat Mississippi Valley real bad, or if it's a close game, we bound to lose. But I think Valley, no team wants to go 0-11, and so coming off a bye week, this is their week to try to give it all they can to try to get them a victory. But I think our coaches will have us prepared. We've got to be a running team this year, mainly because of the inconsistency at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, we have great coaches, but I think sometimes, just looking at some of the plays, certain things, they don't want to put our players in position to fail. And I think just because of some of the early season, the interceptions and the fumbles, and if you call plays that takes too long to develop, we've been prone to throw an interception, turn over the ball. So I think a lot of that is, we just don't have the right we need to recruit a little bit better, and also the jail. We have in jail some of the players that we've depended on this year is no longer on the team, and so so you have to go look at that for consistency wise when you're talking about our coaches. Of course, we like to throw the ball, but our top receiver haven't been playing, and coming into the year, our top running back is no longer on the team. So, so you have a team who's trying to jail, that goes out there play hard, but when you see certain mistakes, it's because they haven't been playing together for a while, and it's not consistency is not there. But I think the coaches will have them ready. They'll go down there and play hard. I expect for them to come back with a victory. But it's not going to be probably anything pretty. But we'll go down there and bring them. bring a win back to the Rocket City.
Yes, indeed. Jay, you got any thoughts on this one?
Well, this is this is a trap game. Um, I We're expected to win, but like it was previously said, um, coming off of a short week, playing a hungry team after losing a game to your bitter rival, let us all pray. Um, by your heads. But no, I this is going to be on our coaches, making sure they keep our young men's head in the game, stay focused, go in Indiana, and pull out a win. I do have faith in my team, just as long as they, stay focused, shake off Saturday, go to Mississippi and bring back the win.
Awesome. Well, we hope we gonna hope for it. But this is a real good segue. 'Cause speaking about Thursday, as we go into basketball season is upon us. And on Thursday night, we have our exhibition opener against Oakwood. And Oakwood is coming to the Hill, and we're going to be playing in Elmore Gymnasium. Um,
don't forget the women play UAH exhibition over in Spraggins Hall at UAH Crosstown also Wednesday night,
Wednesday
5:30,
night.
and
So,
I think that's going to be streamed
all right.
on their
But
YouTube
thanks for
channel.
bringing that up, DT. Make sure y'all go out to see the women Wednesday. That's what it's. Make sure y'all go out to see them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, this year, you guys know we have a new head coach, Otis Hewley. Uh, and he comes with a lot of experience. And we got a relatively we got some new pieces, but we have a couple returning parts. We have Garrett Hicks who's coming back, and he's predicted to be or projected to be on the all SWAC team. We have Cameron Tucker who's coming back for his senior year. So you know we've got a few pieces, with our basketball program, new coach, uh, a new arena that we're going to talk about in this part of the show as well. We've got reasons for optimism. But one thing that has kind of been lost in the shuffle is a little bit of communication about our basketball program and about our new arena. And so, we got some really, really insightful people on this panel here that has a few things that they can say about our basketball season. So, fellas and Jay, let's talk a little bit about basketball, but let's inform our people about some things that they need to know about our new arena and about our team.
Let DT start this one off because he been waiting on basketball season since football season started.
Sorry, I was muted, but
So
you and DT are the resident basketball gurus, so y'all can spearhead this one.
so just I'll start us off. So I grew up in Elmore. Okay. So I remember going to games way back in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, especially the mid 90s, man. Those 93, 94, 95, 96 teams, big Costa Malone, rest in peace. And man, just that atmosphere, you couldn't the only place you could probably match Elmore's atmosphere maybe was Cameron Indoor Stadium over at Duke University, man. Like it was just buck wild. You had the band there, the pep band, you had people with the chants. I mean, just nasty chants. Hot, stinking. I mean, it was just it was unique to us. I mean, it was like the Boston Garden back in the Larry Bird days, kind of like where it had this aura, this aura and this scent, you just couldn't match it, man. But we're moving forward. It was time. It was long time to move on from Elmore. I think that they're calling this the retire Elmore stretch. These first 4 home games with Oakwood and a couple of others. It's a lot of newness to the program. The coaching staff, I love the coaching staff. I love the head coach, Coach Hewley. He's bringing a very diverse winning resume. Coaching some international women's ball, high school ball down in Mobile. He's fairly connected. brought in a nice recruiting class, brought in a nice class of transfers. I made a post in the sports forum back in late September with just kind of a breakdown on who's new and whatnot. He's excited about this team. I went to the season ticket holder forum a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned something that really sat on my spirit. He said that we don't mind the motion and all, but I like mo shooting.
Yeah, motion.
Regarding the motion offenses, we might run a little motion, but we really gonna be doing mo shooting. Okay, so I need to get some of y'all t-shirt makers. I don't care if it's Quentin Carter or somebody. I need some hype building around these basketball season
Yeah,
t-shirts.
mo
Give me something that
shooting.
says Mo shooting. We got our little Steph Curry and Garrett Hicks. He that boy's insane from three. Okay, that new arena, man, when they open that thing up and we start to get us some non-conference wins in November, December, I think you're going to see the town start to kind of perk up like, oh, okay, we got us a little something here. So, yeah, man, I'm excited about this roster. We got a couple of bigs from Morehouse, some, Eliza Okanobi. I hope I didn't mispronounce his name. Athletic 7-footer, man. I watched a couple of practices with him and Omari Pete Green, the shooter, JUCO from Lawson State. Lorenzo Downey, another shooter from West Texas Community College. He's a nice catch and shoot three guy. So it's not just going to be just, 2-3 guys that can put the ball in the basket this year. We got a lot of depth in the backcourt again, some added height, some help for EJ Williams. And so, Huntsville, number one city in the state, we're a basketball town a little bit more than the other cities. So, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, and we got something to build on because it'd been some real tough years. We had one season where we went 2-26 or 2-27, and
Yep.
last year was a bit of a resurgent year. We went 13-18, but we advanced to the SWAC semifinals. And when
Yep.
we got to the semifinals, we played the regular season champion Alcorn. We played them for a full 40 minutes. And Dylan Howard was, wonderful guy. He was our previous coach. Wonderful guy.
Mm-hmm.
He had a tough situation, but he really got a lot out of that team last year. And so
He
now
sure
with
did.
these new parts, the hope is that we can start the upward trend because, some of us, we've been longing for them days when you could come to Huntsville and you had no chance. It was literally them old SIAC days, you had no chance.
No chance.
Yep.
Yeah, I
We
wanted
knew
to
we were
add
gonna
that.
win.
I wanted to add to that too. So, I'm excited about the actual basketball schedule before SWAC play because we have an opportunity not to go 0-15. It's scheduled and set up a way where we can
Mm-hmm.
actually, have confidence going into SWAC play. Another thing I want to add is a couple of things. Last year we went 7-3 at home. I don't know. I know Corey was at some home games, DT were, but the atmosphere that those students set up in Elmore, it was crazy. And then the first game we played was versus Tennessee State at the Von Braun Center. Me, DT and his wife, we sat together, and it was crazy how loud the Von Braun Center was against Tennessee State and Master P son that couldn't shoot. We had that stadium, we had that arena at the BBC rocking. We went 7-3 at home last year, and the 3 games we lost were close games. They weren't even blowouts, and that I just want to give a shout out to the students because they had players frustrated. They had players getting texts because they were taunting the students, and that's the type of records that we need in Elmore. We got 3 games in Elmore. We got Oakwood, we got North Alabama, then we got the final game against Sanford on 11-17, and then we opened up the beautiful event center on 11-23 against Louisiana Tech University. I don't care how big a school they is, I still want to beat the dog out of them when they come into our new beautiful place on the 23rd. And
Yeah.
also, I was looking at amutix.com. You can actually select your seats for Elmore and then select your seats for the event center all on the website now. So y'all please go get those season tickets, man. Y'all know we gotta pay for that building. You know it's not gonna be like it used to be. It's not gonna be $100. So please take that money and spend it. You get a lot of games for the $200 or $350 if you want to sit courtside.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to being down there because I actually will be attending the finale against Stanford on the 17th. So,
Okay.
I was hoping that I would be able to, when I was down there, I'd see the new building open, but at least I will get to see the curtain finally drop on this Elmore Gymnasium. So, but Corey, I know you got so much enthusiasm and so much connection administratively. So, what can the people expect from this new event center? I mean, what are some of the different amenities? What can they expect?
Well, first of all, they can expect our event center is going to be a part of the community, part of Huntsville, and the community, North Alabama buying in. Look forward to a lot of events coming there, as well as the JUCO tournament that was announced that they're going to have a tournament there, and there's going to be some other things down the pipeline that they're working behind the scenes that's going to be possible in our event center. So it's going to be North Alabama is going to be one of the best. Our event center is going to be one of the best in Alabama, and North Alabama is going to be a shining staple in the city. But some of the things that you can see at the new event center, hey, it seats about 6,000. Um, they have the women and men's locker room are identical, and it's up to date. If you go to Auburn, you go to Alabama locker room, hey, it's right there with them. And so that's what I talk about with our student athletes. They deserve to have some of the nice things just like these other schools have. And it's the I don't know if you've seen the floor or the inside, but it's nice.
Yeah,
It's
it's
nice,
pristine.
and fans can actually go to concession stands and still watch the game. You'll see video monitors and TVs all throughout the stadium. So it's going to be a great fan experience. That's one thing that we talk about when we used to talk about football, or, having a good, a fan experience. And I think this event center will allow the fans to have a good experience while there. Looking forward to it. I think Coach Hewlett is going to bring, like DT said, a vast experience from international to women's basketball to men's basketball, having connections to coaching exactly DeMarcus Cousins. He coached DeMarcus Cousins in high school. So just look, the future is going to be bright. If teams better get us this year, because some of the players that I see him recruiting on down the road, they better get us this year. But the event center is going to be proud. It's going to be a proud moment for North Alabama, for alums, and just for the whole state. And I think this is just only the beginning. And so the future is bright for AAMU athletics.
That's awesome. And so, I want to segue into our next subject, and this is where I want Jay Jay. This is right up your alley. So this is where we just take a pause in the program and we gonna go to the a little bit of the humor side. So I want to call this segment here "What Not to Bring to Thanksgiving Dinner." Now that today is November the 1st, we talking about Thanksgiving dinner. So what should you not bring to Thanksgiving dinner? I'm talking about it could be anything. It could be a person, food, whatever. What do you not bring to Thanksgiving dinner?
You do not bring that dish that you just tried out the week before. All dishes that you bring,
Right.
you need to have at least a 2-year head start on preparing that dish. Anything under 2 years, you leave it at home. Do not, I repeat, do not take any new recipes to the Thanksgiving dinner. You shall be sat on the porch.
I would almost rather somebody bring in something that they bought from the store and just heat it up in the oven and brought it over to the house.
That
Right.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Go to Cracker Barrel and bring one of them little, you know.
Right.
Man. You know, something that I definitely know you should not bring to Thanksgiving dinner. Do not bring a significant other that you didn't tell your mama or your daddy about first. Do not introduce them at Thanksgiving
Oh
dinner and
Lord.
say, Mama, Daddy, I want you to meet somebody. Do not do it.
Right. Don't do that.
You gonna
Totally
catch
agree.
all the shade. All the shade.
What I'm gonna tell you not to bring to Thanksgiving, don't bring that cheap liquor that you the only person that drink. You
Oh,
bring
man.
something. You bring something that everybody drink because you're eating the food that everybody eat, and you gonna want to taste my good alcohol. So don't bring that cheap aristocrat. Bring some good stuff.
This also stretches out to the sodas as well. Now, I love me an off-brand soda, in my personal time. But do not take that Dr. Thunder and sit it up there right next to everybody Dr. Pepper. Now, leave
Right.
that in your car. Leave that in your car. Yes.
Corey, you got one?
Yeah, hilarious. Hey, I just say, hey, don't bring nothing you can't cook, because some people think they can cook macaroni and cheese. You cannot cook macaroni and cheese. Let the person who does that do that, and don't bring no fruit cake.
Yeah. Don't bring no fruit cake.
Do not bring no fruit cake.
Mm, mm,
Nobody
mm.
that's below the age of 40 needs to bring macaroni and cheese. Like you gotta know what you're doing. Either that or you gotta be in the house with your grandmama. Like you could be under 40, but your grandmama help you cook throughout the years. But if you under 40, uh, and don't bring the macaroni and cheese. Don't because
I'm
you
glad you added that last part because I fit in that category. I'm under 40, but I definitely was with my grandma when she was
see what
making
I'm
hers. So
saying?
I'm in there.
Right,
For real, if you bring the wrong thing to Thanksgiving, you will be in the family history forever. They
right,
will never forget. Y'all remember the time when so and so brought that nasty macaroni?
right.
And while Wayne, make sure tell them don't bring that drama to a Thanksgiving dinner,
Never.
because
Please don't bring the
Thanksgiving
drama.
is a time for family, friends to get together and give thanks, to have fun. Don't bring that drama.
Right.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, man, that's some real good stuff, and the humorous part of these shows, man. That's what keeps us young. That's what keeps us having fun. So lastly, I want to move into this last segment, and I call this the freestyle segment. So in this freestyle segment, we can talk about anything that's non A&M related. If you want to talk about, we had the college football playoff rankings just get released tonight. If you want to talk about Kanye West with his crazy tale, whatever you want to talk about, let's go freestyle here for 5 minutes, and then we can move towards the conclusion of our first pilot episode.
Well, the first thing I do want to talk about the college football rankings. It came out as expected. Tennessee was. I expected Tennessee to be number one. I think Georgia's number two. Clemson's number three, which is totally a shocker to me. I don't know how that happened. Who is number four?
Clemson was
Clemson,
fourth.
Clemson was four.
Hmm.
Now who's number three?
Ohio State.
No,
Now who's
no,
it's
it goes
it's
Tennessee,
Tennessee,
Ohio
Georgia.
State, and then Georgia was
Yeah,
three,
yeah,
and then
and
Clemson was
Clemson was
four,
four. So
and
I don't
then
know how
Michigan
Clemson.
five. Yeah, Michigan
Right.
five, Alabama six.
So, like always, it's the only other team that's surprised is Tennessee. The teams are going to be the same teams every year. We know it's going to be Ohio State, it's going to be Alabama, going to be Clemson, going to be Georgia. Uh, Tennessee and Georgia will take care of itself this weekend. If Tennessee loses, they'll just switch spots. They'll still be in the top four. Michigan and Ohio State will take care of itself. Y'all know I'm an Alabama fan. Alabama needs for Tennessee to lose, and they need to play against Georgia in the SEC championship and beat Georgia, and then they'll be back in the top four. People are gonna hate it, but if it happens that way, they'll be back in the top four again, and all the world will be mad because Alabama made the playoffs again. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
hoping will
Bama.
happen, but I
Bama
don't
got to
know.
take care of business down there
Yeah,
in Baton Rouge, and then go to
right.
Oxford.
Yeah, it's not gonna be an easy road. I know that this year. Can't just like A&M can't get separation from the cornerbacks. Alabama receivers can't get separation either. So that's just what it is this year.
Yeah, yeah. And me being an Ohio State fan, the biggest thing for me is I'm married to a Michigan alum. Look, man, look, I got a little too comfortable with having that win on the last Saturday in November for a while. I want it back.
Yeah.
Right.
I want that feeling back, man. And thing with Ohio State is, we man, we had to grind it at Penn State, and you know, but we got the win. We a bit banged up all over the place, but hopefully they can get healthy here because they got a couple winnable games coming up here. Like Indiana, Maryland, before they see Michigan. So we'll see what's up. You know, but you guys, like you said, it's the same thing every year. It's just people used to it.
Kick
Right.
out all the ACC schools. It shouldn't be number SEC and Big Ten in the playoffs.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Jay, you got anything you want to add to the freestyle session?
Pray for my Astros. I'm watching the World Series, and oh man, we are getting cooked right
Oh
now.
wow.
Oh wow.
Wow. Well,
Cooked.
well.
Wow, Wayne. What about Coach Prime and Auburn?
Man, I don't want to hear
OC.
about no
You
Coach
know,
Prime.
I hear rumors that Prime they got on a jet to Auburn, but then I hear all this kind of stuff. No, no, that's let me stop playing.
Well, I
I'm,
tell you
hey,
what though.
hey, I make some of them Jack State fans to be mad. Right on
Hey,
that road.
hey, them
Next
Jackson
subject.
State fans, they go crazy when you
Yeah,
talk about that. But with that thing with Auburn, everybody knew Brian Harson was gonna get fired.
yep.
Second that the AD left, um, he was just never their type of guy. They didn't really like him from the beginning, and all there's all these rumors about they should throw the throw all the money to Lane Kiffin, make him say no, and then there's talks about Bill O'Brien, who is Alabama's offensive coordinator. Whatever it is, Auburn is Auburn. They, they cannot seem to get things right. I mean, the guy who they should have had coaching is the one that they paid all this money to get rid of, Gus Malzahn. He was the one that actually had it going, but they wanted to get rid of him as soon as things started going a little sour. So, I don't know. But in
Auburn
terms
should
of
still have. They should still have Terry Bowden. They ran him off. Then they ran. Then they ran off Tommy Tuberville. Then they ran off Gene Chiswick. They just
yep,
run off everybody. They keep paying these buyouts. I shared some yesterday, and for the last 600 days, Auburn has had buyouts, and they're averaging like $56,000 per day for
yeah,
buyouts.
$56,000. I'm like, imagine you get fired yesterday and you getting $15 million.
I wish I can get
Well,
fired.
I'll say this:
$1 million.
until Auburn gets their boosters under control, they don't deserve a decent coach.
You're right.
That's facts. That's facts. That's
Well,
facts. But in
well,
terms of Coach Prime, how even our people, they think he's the savior, they think he's the messiah, and we get past this game this week, we're gonna have to hear from our people about him all next week. So
Right. You don't think we're around a bunch of Jackson State fans and alum versus the people that
yeah.
you know represent the same color that we represent. That's
yep,
on to another. That's another episode though.
that's another episode. But you know uh I just wanted to just bring our viewers up to speed. D Green, he had to roll on because he's a new father. So
congrats, congrats.
big shout out, and congrats to DT and his wonderful wife Brittany. Uh, what we're going to do here, what you're going to see over the coming weeks and some of even the coming months, we're going to mix this thing up. You're going to see shows where there's all of us. You're going to see shows where there's guest stars on here. And we're going to do a lot that we can do to try to promote Alabama A&M, but also we're going to try to do things to promote the HBCU culture. You may see us even not even talk about sports in the episode. We may talk about just current events in the HBCU vernacular. You may even see us have guest stars on here. Hopefully we can have our athletic director to come on. Hopefully we can have our school president to come on. And also for some of you viewers out there, we may even have some of you join. Because one of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that this podcast is for the people and it's about the people, because without the people, we can't succeed. And so we need you to support our show and to put the word out about our show. And also when you come on, we're going to make these things to where we have commentary, where there's a chat box where you can chat and you can ask us questions live while we're on the air. So I'm Wild Wayne Cartwright for T Gooden, for CK Williams, for Jay, and for D Green. We like to thank you for joining us on this first episode of